everybody, and welcome back to my channel for this Monday morning, afternoon or evening across the world where you may be at. And today I am bringing you a local mental health article from my hometown, from my local hometown MP Tom Hunt. And MP stands for Member of Parliament for you guys in the States. And NSFT, every time I mention it, it's the Norfolk and Suffolk Foundation Mental Health Trust. They're my local mental health trust across my county, across my town. And the MP has said Suffolk needs a new mental health service focused on its own needs. So I'm going to talk about what I agree with as an autistic woman and someone with an anxiety disorder, and talk about the things I disagree that he mentioned in this article. I will link the article down below in the video description at the end of the video so you can read it for yourselves and come to your own thoughts, feelings and judgments, if any. So let me get into it. Let me say I do agree with Tom about the Quality Care Commission, which is the CQC for short, which is the care and health social care company who go around assessing companies to make sure that their patient care and mental health care is up to standards within the NHS and private care facilities. So, I agree with Tom and the CQC rating of the NSFT being rated as inadequate. Of course, it's totally unacceptable and totally shocking. And again, it's failing the local people who are currently waiting to access services, or a current service user, or somebody like me who's been through the service, who now volunteers for them after using the NSFT services for an autism assessment and diagnosis. Again, I am glad that Tom has taken the pandemic into account. So this would have added waiting time for people to be assessed or to access services. Again, totally unacceptable. I agree mental health awareness has gone up during this pandemic. I disagree, though, that there is a stigma on mental health. I think society, it's more fear that makes mental health worse, and agree that the attitude towards mental health is changing. I must say I am not aware of the NSFT being called the worst mental health trust in the country. I agree that the provision needs to be a million times improved, but again, we have to take into account we're still dealing with pandemic aftermath. I agree that there's been inadequate training for staff and also service users who may be going through the facility of getting an assessment or diagnosis from various things. The staff, again, are going through inadequate training. So again, whether that's mental health training, first aid, mental health training, anxiety, depression, mental health, anything of that nature, bipolar, autism, ADHD, mixed personality disorders, any kind of that mental health side of stuff. Again, I'm not a medic. I'm someone who's just autistic and gone through the service to speak of. But yeah, I agree that staff have gone through inadequate training, and the fact that this is leading to the fact they've been working at home for the last 2 years, and a lot of them who I talk to, who I communicate with, are still working from home, are still being told to stay at home, unless they have to go to the office to do assessments, or if someone can't do a computer phone call, then they will go out to the community and assess somebody. But for the most part, they are still diagnosing and assessing from their home, their computer screens, or on the telephone if people don't feel comfortable with the computer. So again, this is causing a lot of delays, a lot of backlog, a lot of confusion, complications, that kind of stuff. So I can understand why the service is failing, but we have to be logical and real here and very, very careful. It's not the NSFT that's failing. There's a lot of good areas within the NSFT. The autism service, the adult diagnostic service is very, very supportive. I'm currently getting a lot of support through the pandemic from them. I've had emails, phone calls, text messages just to check in with me, because I do suffer with my anxiety and my mental health. So again, I am very lucky I have that support network to phone them, or they can phone me at any point just to check up on me, because I have struggled through this whole lockdown scenario. So again, I can understand why they say they're failing. Again, it's due to pandemic, it's due to people not turning up for an appointment, it's due to an inadequate training, it's due to the fact that the NSFT gets a bad rap in the press. It also gets a bad rap in local communities because people are like, oh no, don't use them. No. That's not accurate. I had a fantastic time through the NSFT. Yes, it took a while for me to get there. It took me a while to go through the system and get assessed and referred and everything else. But I got there. I did it. I was assessed. I was treated with dignity, respect, confidentiality, data protection. I was made to feel very valued as a human being, not just as a service user or a number that was going through the service at the time. And I think that just because it was delayed, and it was a very new start for them. In general, the autism service here in my hometown didn't start until 2012. I was assessed and diagnosed in 2014, and we're now in 2022, so we've come a long way in such a short space of time. Obviously, things are having to change, they are having to improve, and I will say that there is areas that needs to be fixed and assess better, and I think we're all learning that as we work together to improve the services. But NSFD is not all bad. The organisation as a whole is not bad. It's just the minority areas, and like Tom Hunter said, it's not a bad organisation. It's to do with the management up top. It's to do with the top of the organisation who make the decisions for treatment, include mental health units, autism, ADHD, personality disorders, mental health disorders, anything of that nature. So again, I'm saying this is not a bad organisation. This is not a scare factor video. This is just talking about my own experiences and how I feel the NSFT gets a bad rap. They're not a bad company at all by any stretch of the imagination. I've had a lot of support, and I still continue to get a lot of support, but again, each person's experience is different. I value and appreciate that. Not everyone's going to agree with what I'm saying, or I expect them to. I know everyone's diagnostic service experience is different. Again, I agree with Tom, it needs to be changed at the top. It needs to be new management. It needs to be more personal training. People with lived experiences going into the service and say, hey, hold on, how about you interact with us to make the service more better for you, so that you can actually better understand us and support us, because at the moment you're not. And I think that's the problem. Having people with lived experiences go in and provide that first class training will improve communication on both sets of standards, so not just for them but for us as well as people with mental health issues like myself. I also agree that we need to be separating I disagree that we need to be separating Norfolk and Suffolk Foundation Trust, because again, Norfolk and Suffolk work together very, very well. It's just the fact that there's delays because of the pandemic, there's delays because people don't turn up to their appointments, and it's delays because referrals get lost and things like that. So it's not the fact they're a bad organisation, it's due to mismanagement, records getting lost and clinical backlogs, that kind of stuff. So I want to talk about the reasons why I kind of disagree with some of what Tom was saying. But again, I do agree with some of it overall. On mental health, I agree that these initiatives are important in preventing cases of mental health from being severe crises, e.g. hospital admissions or mental health admissions. There is a lot more being done on mental health in Suffolk and the wider community, including Ipswich, my hometown, within the last few years, since the mental health service was serviced and introduced in 2012. I think it's great that many new local people and local brands are starting to offer support for people with mental health issues so they can talk without fear or stigma, including local libraries and the local MP himself taking part in the men's group. I feel this will help open up the mental health discussion to talk about how we're feeling without fear, shame, stigma, judgment, any kind of that after the Autism Act and Mental Health Act have been put into force. I feel that, again, mental health does have that stigma, but again, we're getting a more fantastic representation of people with mental health issues now. And I feel that every workplace should have really had mental health first aiders, mental health trained people. And I think the problem is it's the people are scared to talk about mental health. They're scared of what to do. And I think this stops a lot of people applying for jobs in mental health. It stops a lot of people who have had lived experiences with mental health, either inpatient, outpatient, clinical services, GP referrals, that kind of stuff. Let's talk about mental health. I agree with what Tom is saying, but again, this is not a bad organisation. Please do not take into any scare factor. NSFT is a fantastic organisation. I have been volunteering for them for over 5 years at this point. I've never had any negative experiences with them. They've been top class for me all the time. They've always been with me, supporting me, believing in me, encouraging me to achieve my dreams. They're encouraging me to look into autism work as a profession. And they encourage me to do my YouTube channel, which is why I do these videos, to share my thoughts and feelings with you all. But please like, comment, share and subscribe, and let me know what you think. I'll link the article down below in the video description. I'll see you next time. Bye!